Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. It's always a joy to have you here with us. Today's video has our hearts racing a little, because we're diving into a gesture that left our beloved Yağmur Yüksel visibly moved. If the title caught your eye, you already know what we're exploring, the story behind the magical memory that Barış Baktas brought to her, the kind of moment that lingers in the air and whispers to the soul. Settle in, because we're going to glide through feelings, behind-the-scenes anecdotes, and that tender sparkle of wonder we live for. If you haven't joined the family yet, now's the perfect time. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what we uncover next. Picture it for a second, an actress as adored as Yağmur, praised for her poise, warmth, and talent, receiving a present from someone as close to her as Barış. Not just any present either, but something that carries a pulse, a heartbeat, an object with a story etched into it. Perhaps a small piece of jewelry, or a prop reimagined, or a carefully chosen keepsake that calls back a shared instant neither of them ever forgot. The expectation that swirls around that kind of surprise is real, isn't it? And when a bond begins under the bright lights of a set and then finds its footing in the quiet moments between takes, sometimes a gift isn't merely a gift. It's a bridge to a memory that still glows. When we say magical memory, we aren't talking about something extravagant for the sake of show. We mean something that nudges at the heart and unlocks a story only two people truly understand. Our search for clues, the whispers drifting through social media, and the energy surrounding what happened all line up. This wasn't about price or display. It was about meaning. It was about bringing a memory into the present in a way that felt intimate and unforced, the kind of gesture that can make a busy set feel like a sanctuary. That's what moved us most. Behind the headlines and flashbulbs, there are people who notice small things, who hold on to fragments of time that didn't look like much while they were happening but later feel priceless. Seeing Barış reach for one of those fragments and place it in Yağmur's hands told us everything we needed to know about how attentive he is, how carefully he watches the details that matter. And seeing how she reacted sealed the moment in gold. Think back to where it all began for them. The long days of filming, the choreography of marks and lines, the shared glances that roll camera and cut never caught, the pieces that add up to trust. It's easy to imagine that the keepsake traces its roots to the project that brought them together. Maybe it's connected to a scene viewers still replay. Maybe it's something they touched 100 times without thinking until the last day, when it suddenly meant goodbye to the world they built. Or maybe it's far more personal, a token from a night when nerves ran high and one of them broke the tension with a joke that still makes the other laugh. What matters is that the object is a story in disguise. It carries a private language. The first ripple of reaction told onlookers everything, that bright flicker in Yağmur's eyes, the way she cradled it, the pause as if to catch a memory mid-flight, the quiet smile that says, "I remember." If you've ever held something small that felt like a key to an entire room of your past, you know the feeling. An old train ticket. A tiny charm on a chain. A worn note tucked into a wallet. Alone, these things aren't much. In the right hands, they hum. We've watched how fans talk about the two of them, how their banter softens long days, how some jokes seem to have a life that exists off camera. Their dynamic has always felt unguarded in the best way, like it doesn't need to perform for anyone. A keepsake like this seems to come from that same place. It's not a headline, it's a heartbeat. It's the difference between a present and a proof of awareness. I noticed, I remembered, I cared enough to find it again. So what could it be? The fun of this kind of moment is imagining the possibilities while staying true to who they are. Perhaps it's a delicate necklace with a tiny motif tied to a first scene they shot together, something only they would recognize. Maybe it's a replica of a prop that comforted her during those grueling shoot days, something she touched unconsciously before stepping into the frame. It could be a memento from a quiet walk after wrap, a small token picked up on a whim that later turned into a symbol. Or imagine this, a handcrafted piece that Barış worked on in secret, something with an inscription known only to them, a date, a line, a single word that holds a whole chapter. What we know is that intention sat at the center. The time it takes to think through what truly stirs someone is its own language. It says, I see you. I've been paying attention. And the effect on Yağmur was unmistakable. You could feel how much that moment meant, how it transported her back to a place that shaped them. In those seconds, the noise faded, and it was just two people holding a memory between them like a lantern. We don't need to spell out every detail of their private life to understand the depth of what this gesture conveys. Fans have long sensed an ease between them that can't be faked. They laugh in the same rhythm, and when one grows quiet, the other seems to fill the silence with warmth. A magical memory might sound like something a script invents, but in truth it's very simple. It's when love of any kind, romantic, friendly, or fiercely loyal, remembers itself out loud. And let's be honest, in an industry that moves at a relentless pace, those small reliquaries of the heart keep people steady. They say, here is where we began, or, here is what pulled me through. That's why this moment touched so many, because everybody has a drawer or a box or a corner of a bag where something small waits to be noticed again. That shared human thread is what fans responded to, flooding comments with soft words and stories of their own. You could feel the collective hush, like we all recognized what was unfolding. Some have wondered whether the gift echoes their earliest days on set, maybe a reminder of the first time they nailed a scene that had felt impossible, or of a night when they both stayed late rehearsing until everything clicked. Others picture a keepsake from a rushed coffee between takes, a tiny cafe receipt folded into a charm. There's a world of ideas, and each says the same thing: the object matters because the story breathes inside it. If we had to guess, if we let our hearts do the sleuthing, we'd say it may have been something that needed effort to track down or care to craft. Maybe Barış remembered a little token she leaned on during hard days and went looking for its twin, or maybe he rebuilt it from scratch, turning patience into art. Or perhaps it was a symbol of a promise they made quietly, the kind you don't shout about, the kind you carry. The way she received it told the rest. Her expression did not perform for the camera, it softened. Her shoulders dropped just a touch, her breath seemed to settle, like a wave finding the shore. That's the mark of a gift that fits. It doesn't have to dazzle, it only has to belong. And in that belonging, you see the care behind it, the thought, the listening, the memory. What does a gesture like this say? It speaks of appreciation, first and foremost. It says, I value the path we walked, the tiny moments no one else saw. It speaks of complicity, that beautiful word that means they're in on the same secret. And it speaks of presence, of being here now with what was then. The public may catch glimpses, debate, and speculate, but the truth sits in a look, in a hand that lingers over a small object as if it were a universe. And yes, we'll indulge the speculation, with affection, always. Is it handmade? Is it the exact item from a pivotal day, retrieved and restored? Is it a long-kept note turned into something wearable, like a fragment of a past suddenly glowing on the present? The charm of mystery is part of the magic, but what matters is the unmistakable intention, choosing something that returns a person to themselves. Let's bring this back to you. Think about the thing you've kept, a photo that curls at the edges, a concert wristband, a key with no door anymore but 1,000 memories. Objects can become portals. They bend time. And when someone hands you a portal with your name written inside, the rush is immediate and pure. This is what we saw reflected through fans' comments, through brief glimpses shared online, through the gentle hush that followed. We saw how well he knows her, how deeply she holds their shared history. In a world that often awards the loudest gesture, this one chose quiet. It trusted that the person who mattered would hear everything it said. What can we take from this? 3 simple lessons. First, pay attention. The smallest moments might be the ones that someday steady you. Second, cherish emotional memory. It's not nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, it's a map back to joy and strength. Third, be generous with your time and your care. Finding the right keepsake isn't about money, it's about listening closely enough to choose well. So yes, call it a magical memory if you like, because it did what magic does, it transformed a room, a mood, a day. It reminded them, and all of us, that love of any kind is a practice of noticing. It drew a line from the beginning to now and asked them to keep walking it together, hand in hand with the past. As we wrap up, we want to hear from you. Have you ever received a keepsake that tugged the past into the present? What do you imagine the special object was for Yağmur? Tell us your stories in the comments. We read them all and love the way your memories light up our space here. If this moment touched you, give this video a like and share it with friends who cherish heart-first stories, or who admire Barış and Yağmur and the connection they built. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets so you won't miss the moments that remind us why we fell in love with the people behind the spotlight in the first place. Thank you for spending your time with us, for letting us trace the edges of a gesture that said everything without saying a word. Until the next video, hold on to your own talismans, notice the tiny wonders, and keep believing in the quiet magic of memory.